Affordability, it's an interesting topic, and talking to experts, they have got all different opinions, and if you talk to moms and dads, the publicly interested people, they have also different views. So in doing this research, we thought that we come up with a tool as generic as possible so we can inform housing affordability rather than doing specific analysis in this space. So the aim of this project is really a tool that can help decision makers, say local governments or researchers, to use this tool and integrate data for doing anything around housing affordability. Development of a tool is perhaps one side of the coin. The other side is preparation of data for this. I can tell perhaps more than 50% of work we are doing on this project is around preparing the data, integrating data from different sources, making them integrated and interoperable. So in a sense, this project is developing this tool, and also we're going to test the outcomes or the modules we develop this tool through the northwestern region. Now let's have a look at the affordability of our tool. This is within the scope of the perhaps project. Our tool at the end will help to identify land and properties in the northwestern area which has got the potential for development, for having more houses on a land parcel. And also we will be able to do analysis on the land administration process, the approval process, getting planning and building permits, the time it takes to get these approvals done, the registration, titling process and the impact of that. Also looking at the income factors that influence affordability, and that includes household size, interest rate, house prices, house stocks, so all sort of different factors on this side. So the tool has got basically 3 modules. 2 of them we have already developed, the other one is under development. We've done this one within ArcGIS environment. Now we have, after the pilot stage, we are now moving it to the ORIN portal. This particular module of the tool looks at the development potential and identifying those land parcels that's got the potential for development. There are 2 aspects. One is on your left-hand side, you've got the factors to select the land parcel, and that is development potential index, which I'll explain. This stands to proximity to public transport, proximity to facilities like schools, the medical centers, and also different land use. And the other side, this side is the constraints that you put on development, and these constraints include geographical constraints, environmental, or this development assessment. In this side, basically, we set a development potential index, and that is the ratio of the land value to its capital improved value. So the less is improvement of the improvements on the land so it means that it's got more potential for development. So if it is a vacant land, the index is 1. Basically, you don't have any improvement. But if you have the less value of the improvement of the building on the value, it's got less value comparing to the vacant land price, so it's got more potential to land. So you can set the development potential index for the land, and then also set all sort of other factors like public transport facilities and different use. Here in the first part, we basically filter the parcels or properties available for development. And the other part, we set the constraints. And these constraints are not really filtering the data, basically putting the extra values on the parcels. So if you have more constraints on a property, it means that it's more difficult to do development on that particular land. So if you've got, for example, environmental constraints, geographical constraint, or development assessment constraints, so it will take longer time to get that approval process in comparing, for example, having only one constraint. So this is basically one of our modules that selects the proper land parcel for development in the area. The other tool or module of this tool is looking at the development assessment analysis and looking at really the processing details of the planning permits. For example, duration of the assessments, number of the objections against each application, category of application, if it is a new building or an extension to existing building, and also looking at other aspects, change of use. You can see how many of these applications are changing, for example, from residential to other uses or other uses to residential. So we can do all sorts of these analysis around residential development using these tools. Okay, now let's have a look at some data that we've used this system. So forget the theory now. This is the outcomes of the tool, if you like. So looking at the median capital improvement value in our region, we see if the capital improved value is high, so the less is the potential for development in the area. So for example, if you compare Yarra with Moorland, see we have more capital improved value in average in that area. So we expect that there is less available properties or land for development, which is, you can see if you do a potential DPI analysis, development potential index analysis, it's based on 0.7 index, and you see, for example, comparing Yarra to Moorland, less land is available, but you can see also the total land available in hectares in the region. For example, Melbourne has got more than 35,000 hectares of land with potential for development. In total, in the region, 40% of the properties are available or got the potential for development. So there are around 600,000 properties or land property in the area, which 240,000 perhaps fall within the potential development index of 0.7. So it's a high potential there for further development in this area. Change of use, comparing the change of use from residential to others or others to residential, we see, for example, majority is obviously you're changing use from the other uses to residential. Perhaps this doesn't tell much the story, but looking at the duration of the assessment, you can see perhaps to some degree we can assess the efficiency of the approval assessment within the region. If, as we assume, 60 days is the recommended statutory requirement or time frame for approval, we are basically around only 6% is within 1 month. The rest of the time frame, it is really more than that. So this is again an indication of the efficiency of the land administration process in terms of the approval in the region. If we want to supply further land, then we need to take into account our efficiency in the region and improve this one to help providing housing in the region. We also did some analysis using ABS data and projecting on the map. So this is based on 2011 family income. The lighter color is showing the sort of lower income, so we can see the ring in the middle of the region. It's got the lower income again, this is important in provision of housing for this region. Looking at weekly rent, and again the lighter color shows perhaps lower rental value, and we can clearly see around the transport corridors we have high rental payment, which, if we also look at the weekly mortgage repayment, we can pretty much see the same trend happening around the transport corridors. We see higher, people are willing to pay more mortgage toward the properties in this area. So anything to do with housing and provision of housing, it should closely tie to public transport. So if you provide land in some areas without provision of the housing, it's not going to be effective. Now, more interestingly, you can see the ratio of income to mortgage repayment in the area. The red area or darker areas are the areas that people are paying more than their sort of half of their income towards mortgage. So perhaps this doesn't tell much a story in its own right, but when we look at the development potential index of 0.7, where it shows that the area has got the higher potential for development, or the improvement of the land is not that high comparing to the land value, people still are, for example, in an area in Melbourne, are paying more towards this less valuable, if you like, properties. There are many reasons behind that, and maybe they have financed perhaps the property towards another investment property for other reasons. But it's a trend in this region, so it's interesting to find out what's behind this kind of trend, and perhaps people need more education in buying properties or investing in properties. And that's it, so I'll hand over to Austin to sum up.